It's great to be with you today. It's great to remember why we're here. Representative True reminds us that it's all about Maxwell and kids like Maxwell. We don't get to do this work without understanding that it's about real kids and real parents and real families today and tomorrow. We're thrilled at the Pennsylvania Children's Trust Fund to support programming, training, parenting, to support real work for real kids and real families. We focus on teaching parents how to respond when the baby's crying and when the baby won't stop crying. We like to teach parents what it means to develop naturally, organically, healthfully. We teach teachers how to teach parents how to be good parents. We're thrilled to be funders of child abuse prevention efforts wherever we can find them across the Commonwealth, in big cities and in small towns across the Commonwealth. We're pleased to announce this week the creation of our new website, pactf.org. We welcome you to visit it. As well, this year we've created the Friends of the Children's Trust Fund so that we can expand the base of support beyond the public funding of marriage and divorce fees. We're pleased to bring new dollars and new ideas and new resources to the work of child abuse prevention. We have a wonderful board. Many of you from the board are here, and we appreciate your work. To tell us about the work of child abuse prevention, we have two members of our board, legislative members, who've given much of their extra time, little as it is, to the work of the Trust Fund and the work of abuse prevention. And so I want to introduce, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce my colleagues from the House, Representative Phyllis Mundy, the wonderful representative from Kingston and Wilkes-Barre-Scranton, and Senator Bob Mensch, who I understand is sitting about here. Senator Mensch from the good county of Montgomery and Schwenksville. First, Representative Mundy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, senators, representatives. Thank you so much for being here. I'm proud to be here with my fellow board members of the Children's Trust Fund during Child Abuse Prevention Month. As you know, April is for raising awareness of child abuse and neglect, as well as for encouraging communities and Pennsylvania as a whole to provide better support to our children and families in order to prevent child abuse. Pennsylvania has many programs and services in place that attempt to help children who have been abused and neglected. These programs range from various family support and strengthening services to our foster care system to, in many cases, juvenile courts and detention centers. Programs such as these focus on intervention, and while they are vital, they are also very costly. The Children's Trust Fund realizes that the real solution in helping our children lies in prevention. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. CTF seeks to integrate research-based child abuse and neglect prevention methods into already existing child care and early childhood development programs. Investments made in the early years of a child's life generate significant benefits for the child, the family, communities, and society as a whole. Advances in the biological sciences show us that adversity during childhood, especially early childhood, puts adults at risk for conditions ranging from depression to heart disease. Financially speaking, investments to prevent child abuse and neglect from occurring in the first place produce considerable long-term benefits to our budget as they help reduce the number of children who end up in foster care and the number of children who later adopt a life of crime or homelessness. For each child we save from entering these systems, we save Pennsylvania and American taxpayers thousands of dollars. Organizations such as Fight Crime, Invest in Kids, and Generations United agree with the Children's Trust Fund that it is in the best interest of all Pennsylvanians that children, especially at-risk children, are provided with quality early childhood development programs that offer child abuse and prevention services. Doing so helps our children become healthy, productive adults, and it ultimately helps our communities with a more competitive workforce and more stable families. To further support the good work of the Children's Trust Fund, I have recently introduced House Bill 2376, which would provide a checkoff line on state income tax returns so that taxpayers could designate a portion of their tax refund to benefit CTF's programs. It is my hope that this bill, House Bill 2376, will help the Children's Trust Fund programs reach more of Pennsylvania's children and families. I am very proud to be a board member of CTF, an organization that seeks to ensure all children are provided with the best possible start in life. I look forward to continuing the fight with CTS and with the Family Support Alliance to fight against child abuse and neglect wherever we may find it. And now I welcome my former CTF board member, Senator Bob Mensch, to the podium to offer remarks.
Well, good afternoon. I think what Phyllis meant was I was a former House member. I'm delighted I'm still a member of the Children's Trust Fund Board, and it's a delight to have that opportunity to work in such an important area of legislation and on social, what I would call social steerage. You know, child abuse is one of those, to me, one of those crimes in our society that very often is silent and it's hidden. It affects children. We don't, very often they're not forthcoming, and it just continues in the family. And it becomes generational. And with that, it becomes multiplied as well. As someone who comes from an abused home, they move into a marriage, they have their own children, and they raise their children just as they were raised. And now they have more children, and we begin to expand the effect of child abuse. So the work that Children's Trust Fund does is to try and educate agencies and fund agencies so that we can begin to more aggressively attack what is going on in homes and in our society and try and stem the growth of child abuse. I don't think we'll ever stop it. It will always be there, but I do believe that we can effectively curb it with the right plans and the right actions. Now, the board, under the steerage of Mr. Savone, works a lot of magic with very little budget. So that is why the legislation that Representative Mundy just talked about is so important, the checkoff on the income tax. I'm a great supporter in government of private-public partnerships. And that is an extension of the private-public partnership thinking, where we're going to encourage our public to join us, the government, to be able to fund more actively the programs that Children's Trust Fund promotes. And so, Phyllis, that's great. I was just talking with Frank. I'd like to talk to you. Maybe we can run a companion in the House. I know we had talked about it at the board meeting. But I think it's really important that we engage as many people as we can. And to that extent, those of you who are sitting here with the heads nodding, if you have an interest in joining us on the board of the Friends organization, we'd welcome your activity, because what we need is much more reach into the business community, into the private sector, to encourage additional funding, because ultimately this program affects our society, which affects our economy, which affects our government. And so the more partners that we can encourage, the better. And I would encourage everyone, please join us in this endeavor. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Senator. This concludes our time together today. We encourage you not to leave without getting a pinwheel, a pin, a blue ribbon pin, and a cookie, please. We'd rather not cart them back to offices. So go forth, spread the message, and do your very best. Thank you.